Hey y'all, this is Mr. Patient with Heritage Ways. Just wanting to share some information with you that I ran across a little bit yesterday and a little bit today as it relates to our Heritage Homestead journey and the RV and truck that we're looking to get. So we had a conversation yesterday with some friends of ours who RV full time, and they talked to us about the length of the fifth wheel that we get. They said you really need to try to stay around 30 feet long on the fifth wheel because a lot of campgrounds, if you go over 30 feet, can't accommodate you. So that took a little bit of wind out of my sails because the one we're looking at getting is actually 43 feet, end to end, from the fifth wheel hitch to the bumper is 41. So, I mean, it's a really big fifth wheel. But then today, when I was at lunch, I was just looking through Pinterest, just scrolling to see what kind of RV pins were popping up for me, and I ran across one that piqued my interest, and I went into it, and it was talking about the restrictions of RVs on the road and the different state laws. And of course, as they mentioned in this article, they couldn't go into depth on every state law about RVing because it would be just an infinite, it would just be too big of a subject to cover. But it did have a little link where it took you to a chart that Good Sam's website has. So I clicked on that little icon there to take me to that website, and what this chart showed, it showed the state, the width restrictions, the height restrictions, and the length restrictions for travel trailers, and it also had a different length restriction on a lot of them for motorhomes. So I'm just kind of scrolling down through there and I'm looking at the links, and I came to the realization that most of the links in most states are restricted to 40 feet as far as the trailer or fifth wheel. So now here we are. We had settled on this one particular RV because it was the way the floor plan was and amenities that this particular RV has, and it's going to fit our need very well. But here again, this thing is, nose to tail is 43 feet. And when I saw that 40-foot restriction on most roads, all of a sudden in my mind, I'm like, wow, now I've got to start all my research again to find something under 40 feet so that I can be legal in all these states. And actually, North Carolina, which is Western North Carolina, a state that we really love, or an area we really love, North Carolina restricts you to a 35 feet or 35 foot camper. So now I'm frustrated because I had all this worked out of what we were going to do, what we were going to get, and now I'm having to figure out again, what are we going to do, what are we going to get. And when I got back to work, I started talking to a guy that I work with, and he started talking about, based on the weight, you may have to get a CDL, a commercial driver's license. So went out there on the website, and if you put something on the road over 26,000 pounds, you have to have a commercial driver's license. So I went immediately to the website for the truck that I was looking at buying because I knew that the RV I was going to buy has a gross vehicle weight rating of a little over 16,000 pounds. So I went out and started looking at the truck that I was going to buy, and the truck that I'm going to buy is anywhere between 10 and 11,000 pounds. So even if it's on the low end, look, I'm over the 26,000 pound limit. I got to go get a CDL now. So I'm just kind of sharing with you guys the frustration that I've got about this, but also putting it out there to ask for some input. and please leave comments below if you RV and you have any information about this, because the thing that really pops into my head is if all these states has a length restriction of 40 feet, like in Tennessee where we live, we have a length restriction at 40 feet. But the 43 footer that I looked at is about 20 miles up the road in Tennessee. So they're going to sell me an RV that, by what I understand, I can't even drive off the lot, because as soon as I drive it off the lot, I'm breaking the law. Unless there's something that I'm not understanding. It may be that those restrictions that Good Sam had on that chart is for someone with a regular driver's license. And maybe by getting a commercial driver's license, a CDL, then that gives me the ability to be able to tow something with more weight, obviously, as I just said, but also a longer length. I don't know. Like I said, this just hit me today and kind of threw me for a loop, because I'd done all this research and had all this worked out, but I hadn't run across this until today. So now I'm trying to figure out how this is going to work and what we're going to do. So please, if you guys RV and you have any information about this, please leave me comments below so that it can help with my research. I mean, granted, I understand that the smaller RV that I get, the easier it's going to be to tow. It opens up more possibilities for campsites. It's going to be cheaper from a standpoint of the cost of the rig, but also cheaper in order to tow the thing because you're not pulling as much weight. Okay, I get all of that, but I'm still trying to wrap my mind around how the RV industry are selling RVs that are not even legal to be on the road, based on this chart that I saw that Good Sam had put out. So, Miss Katie says all the time, we're just living life and being real with you, and this is what's real to me right now. So if there's anything that you guys can do to help me out, I would really appreciate it. See you later.